Xbox is abandoning consoles to become the Netflix of gaming, while Sony's PS6 leaks reveal features that could erase Microsoft's advantage that it once had forever. Today we're going to be connecting the dots between Xbox's risky subscription gamble and PlayStation's secret weapon that they have ahead. This isn't a console war anymore. We know who the true winner is and has been for since the PlayStation 4 at least. It's now the battle for the future of gaming. Xbox betting on their Xbox Game Pass cloud subscription service, and PlayStation may be touching and dabbling their toes into cloud gaming, but alongside of this also releasing their flagship gaming console, the PlayStation 6, in the coming years. While Xbox is all in on the Game Pass, betting that the subscriptions will replace consoles, here's what I think their potential playbook will be going into the next few years. Firstly, Xbox will be definitely focusing on maybe getting some exclusive blockbusters onto the Xbox Game Pass first. The only problem is developers like Activision, even though that they're owned by Activision, they are a business at the end of the day. And whilst the Game Pass is still good, the PlayStation services, the PS5, their consoles are just more popular, right? We've seen it, it's very evident from the PS4 side of things and the PS5 side of things. It has substantially more sales than Xbox has been having for over a decade now, right? And so it'll be very difficult for them to get exclusives pushed out and rolled out specifically on that. But like lower end games or not known games, I would say not lower end, but games like maybe Indiana Jones, like we have seen on the Game Pass first compared to the PlayStation. I feel like those are where Xbox have the edge, right? Story games and stuff like that that we might be able to see. But also for the past years now, we've also seen how good that the exclusives are for PlayStation, right? We've got Last of Us, Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank, and so many others, right? And now with Gears of War, Halo, and potentially other great Xbox titles now coming to PlayStation and PlayStation 6 soon enough, then it will be pretty difficult to recommend something like Xbox Game Pass, especially if you live in the rural areas where it's difficult to get a good internet connection or a consistent connection to be playing on the Game Pass on your mobile device, your TVs, your computers, etc., right? But that is a issue that you can't really control and is based on the area, right? And on top of that, it's not always a win for Sony at that point either, right? Because for example, if you live in a country like, for example, my cousin in India wanted to purchase a PlayStation 5, but it is so expensive there because duties and taxes, right? You need to pay almost double the price that you get it from North America and Canada just to really experience the new consoles because of the taxes and etc. So people do stick to the older generation consoles, right? They're still on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And if publishers are still supporting those consoles, then I mean, why not? And especially like a console like the PS4 Pro, which if you have a 1080p monitor or TV, right, and you're not upgraded to 4K 60 or 8K or what have you, then I mean it's still a very solid console, right? You're not really missing out much. Sports games like FC 25, Call of Duty, they're all still going to be published. The popular games will always be and have support on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One side of things for the next few years, right? It's still a very popular console, and a lot of people also decide not to move forward and get something like the current gen PlayStation 5 console because they just don't need it, right? Now, I feel like the PS6 will have a lot of great features compared to the Xbox, but don't get me wrong. Sony has been patenting a lot of different things, and something like Sony's anti-resale discs that could lock games to specific accounts might be very bad and a disadvantage to Sony, and something that we have seen with like Nintendo and stuff like that that they might be pushing as well with the Nintendo Switch 2, right? And that is where Xbox might have an advantage because people want to try games before they buy them, and if these discs are locked to accounts, it will be very difficult to recommend something like the PlayStation 6, even if the PlayStation 6 does have a disk drive, because this anti-resale disc will be very difficult to be pushing forward. I remember when I think it was Shohei Yoshida, the former president of Sony or PlayStation, I believe he was, he made like a gag April Fool's kind of game sharing trailer where he shared the games, quote unquote, right? And I feel like we won't be able to even do that on the PlayStation 6 if it includes a disk drive. It might have some sort of lock or geo restriction on the game so that once you download it, you can't download it again on another console, which just loses the whole aspect of buying physical games and preserving them from a long time, right? Because say, for example, you lose your account or it gets locked, banned, what have you, you won't be able to replay those games. And that's very difficult to see. And going forward, especially as an avid physical game or physical media collector myself, it's pretty difficult to recommend a console like that that does and supports something like anti-resale discs. I feel like that is something that Sony definitely got wrong, especially when it comes to gaming. But that's how companies like Apple do it. That is how something like these monopolized companies like Sony, they will also be incorporating as well going forward. And it's just bad news for everyone as a gamer. Now, why Xbox is definitely going to be in trouble is that, you will no longer have those great exclusives anymore, right? Like I said before, Gears of War, Halo, Starfield definitely did flop. All of these games were on PlayStation and Sony. They just have a higher budget. They can pour more money into it, right? And like popular games like Call of Duty will always be on PlayStation as well, even though Activision owns the company itself, right? But cloud gaming also, like I said before, it isn't really ready yet until we get stable internet connections worldwide, and it's pretty difficult to really do that, right? But also the PlayStation ecosystem will offer everything that the Game Pass does, but with better hardware, right? I feel like PlayStation Plus, even though it is more expensive than the Game Pass, it will eventually get better, right? Sony will find its way to cut costs and make it more affordable, but at the same time offering a higher quality experience compared to Xbox and Microsoft. A lot of people that aren't like very die-hard PlayStation fans, I mean, they are comfortable with just using and playing their older PlayStation 4s or even PS5s. I feel like now, I made a video before speaking on how it won't really be a rush for gamers to jump on and get themselves a PS6, right? How it was compared to like the PS4 to the PS5. A lot of people had their jet engine PS4s and they were tired of like the glitches and stuff that it had, and they moved on to a more solid console like we've seen, like a great experience with the DualSense, a great experience with the PS5 system, and etc. Tons of games, tons of support, and I feel like even this console, the PS5, will be very good and usable for another decade, right? It's still very, very solid, and a lot of people don't have like 4K, 8K screens yet to be upgrading and playing on those quality screens. And even to the naked eye, I mean, 4K is still very solid, and with PS5 support on 4K 30 for almost all games, I mean, you don't really need to jump on and get yourself an upgrade for the PS5 Pro or even the PS6 until you get that hardware upgrade as well, right? Now let me know in the comments down below. I feel like if Microsoft gets the pricing right and they get better in terms of cloud gaming and the support for it and making it more stable, then there might be some real competition. But for now, I feel like PlayStation has it in the bag. It's been your boy Optage. I'll catch you guys all in my next video. Goodbye.